In today's video, we're going to explore some of the most impressive constructions mentioned in the Bible and the mysteries that surround them. Since the dawn of civilization, humanity has always sought to push its own limits, erecting grand monuments that defied the impossible. But among these constructions, few are as intriguing as the famous Tower of Babel. This legendary tower was said to be an ambitious project, built with the goal of reaching the heavens and uniting all of humanity under one purpose. According to the Bible, after the flood, Noah's descendants settled in the plains of Shinar, in Mesopotamia, and decided to build a city and a monumental tower. Using baked bricks and bitumen as mortar, they developed advanced construction techniques for their time. But something caught divine attention. Seeing the determination of this people, God intervened, confusing their languages and scattering them across the earth. The tower was abandoned, and the city became known as Babel. But is this story just a myth? Some scholars believe that the Tower of Babel may have been inspired by the gigantic Mesopotamian ziggurats, temples built for the gods. The largest of them all, Enki, located in ancient Babylon, stood about 90 meters tall and was impressive for its monumental structure. Even the Greek historian Herodotus described a colossal construction in this region. However, what really happened to this tower? Was it destroyed over time, or did something more mysterious occur? Beyond the structural aspect, there is also the mystery of linguistic diversity. The Bible suggests that human languages emerged suddenly after the dispersion at Babel, but science argues that they evolved over thousands of years. This enigma remains one of the greatest challenges in linguistics and archaeology. But the Tower of Babel was not the only biblical construction to impress generations. Centuries later, another monumental edifice arose in Jerusalem, the legendary Temple of Solomon. Unlike the tower, this temple was built to glorify God and became the spiritual center of the people of Israel. The temple was erected around the 10th century BC by order of King Solomon, following detailed architectural standards described in the Bible. It housed the Holy of Holies, where the Ark of the Covenant was kept, and was decorated with pure gold, Lebanese cedar, and masterfully carved stones. But how did a small kingdom manage to build something so grand? The answer may lie in the alliance with King Hiram of Tyre, whose Phoenician engineers and artisans helped transform the temple into one of the most impressive structures of antiquity. However, this great work did not last forever. In 586 BC, the Babylonians, led by Nebuchadnezzar II, invaded Jerusalem and destroyed the temple, sending the Israelites into exile. Later, a second temple was built and was later expanded by Herod, becoming one of the greatest buildings of its time. But in 70 AD, the Romans completely destroyed the Temple of Jerusalem, leaving only the famous Western Wall. What intrigues scholars is the lack of concrete remains of the first temple. Some believe its materials were looted and reused, while others theorize that fragments may still be buried beneath the current Temple Mount. However, excavations at the site are limited due to political and religious issues. Beyond the temple's disappearance, another great mystery involves the Ark of the Covenant. This sacred artifact contained the tablets of the law and symbolized the divine presence. But after the temple's destruction, its whereabouts became one of the greatest enigmas in history. Some believe it was hidden before the Babylonian invasion, while others claim it was taken away and never found again. But if Solomon's temple was the symbol of the connection between God and mankind, there is another biblical construction that is even more enigmatic: Noah's Arkansas. According to the Bible, God commanded Noah to build a colossal vessel to save his family and the animals from the impending flood. The biblical account describes the ark as approximately 137 meters long, made of a mysterious wood called gopher and sealed with bitumen. The project included 3 decks and a ventilation system. But could a structure of such proportions have been built at that time? Engineers debate its feasibility, arguing that internal reinforcements would have been necessary to prevent it from breaking apart at sea. Moreover, how did Noah and his family manage to care for so many animals for over a year? Some theories suggest that many of the animals could have entered a state of hibernation, or that Noah only took representatives of each species to optimize space and resources. The greatest mystery, however, remains: did Noah's Ark really exist? For centuries, expeditions have sought evidence, and many point to the same location, Mount Ararat in Turkey. The Bible states that after the flood, the Ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Travelers like Marco Polo have mentioned accounts of a great ship preserved at the top of the mountain. In the 20th century, satellite images captured a strange formation in the region, and researchers claim to have found wooden fragments that could belong to the Ark. However, none of these discoveries have been scientifically confirmed. Curiously, the story of a great flood is not exclusive to the Bible. Ancient cultures around the world, including the Sumerians, Babylonians, and even indigenous peoples, have similar accounts of a catastrophic flood and a hero who saved life on Earth in a boat. The Epic of Gilgamesh, one of the oldest texts in human history, narrates a story almost identical to Noah's, raising the question: did a global event truly inspire these accounts? Whether legend or reality, Noah's Ark remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Its discovery would change how we understand humanity's past. Just like the Tower of Babel and the Temple of Solomon, the Ark represents more than just a simple construction. It symbolizes a turning point in the relationship between God and mankind. 3 biblical constructions, 3 fascinating mysteries. Defying the heavens, dwelling in the divine presence, and preserving creation. To this day, these stories continue to intrigue scholars and archaeologists, and we may never know the full truth. But one thing is certain: these structures have forever marked the history of humanity.